So in this video, I'll talk about typecasting, or you can say casting simply, and sometimes it is also known as type conversion. So as the name suggests, it means to convert one type of data to another. So let's say I'll give you an example using the numerical data types. So numerical data types, let's say num1 equals 20, num2 equals 12.45, and num3 equals let's say 2 plus 3j. Okay, let's say. So the first one is an integer data type, the second one is an float data type, and the third one is a complex number. So this is what we have already talked about in the previous video. So what if I want to convert one data type to another? Let's say I want to find the integer value of num2. So I can do type conversion. How? So let's say num2 as int. This is just a variable name, nothing else. Okay, num2 as int. So I am defining here that I want the value in this variable, which is nothing but the integer value of num2. So how I can convert it is that I can use the int function. So int and here as an argument I have to provide any other data type that I want to convert into int, but it should be convertible. It is nothing like you put just a random data type which has no meaning to be converted into it. So here I typed num2, and let me just print all of these variable names and their types. So let's say num1 and its type, and similarly other variables also, num2, num3, and also num2 as int and num2 as int. Let me just print it, and then you can see. So 20 is integer, 12.45 is float, 2 plus 3j is a complex number. And here you can see this thing, this function int converts the num2 into integer. As you can see, num2 as int is integer. So you can use the function int to convert another data type into integer data type. And similarly, you can also use the float function to convert a simple, this one, numerical data type, which is int, into float as well. Let's just try, and I give it as, you also need to name although we need not to change the name, but I'm just changing it for convenience. And let me run this program, and you can see 20 is being converted into 20.0, which is a float value. And let's try as this one also. And you can see 20 is being converted into 20 plus 0j, which is a complex number. This way I am converting different numerical data types into another numerical data types. But this thing is not just limited to numerical data types, rather you can do it with the boolean data types as well, or string data types as well. Let's say I have the string name and I want to convert int into integer data type. So just printing the conversion directly, print integer value of name. So you can see it gives an error, that is invalid literal for int. That means this string has nothing to do with the integer, so it can't be converted into integer, right? Obviously we have to provide a valid literal value, right? You just can't type any data type. Not every data type can be converted into another, right? It must be a valid literal first. Okay. But yeah, a reverse is possible. What I mean is, let's say I have number 1 equals to 1250, which is obviously a numerical data type and integer, but it can be converted into string. How? So number 1 as string and str of number 1, right? So let me just print both and its type as well, type of number 1, and then again number 1 as string and its type as well. So now you can see 1250 here is an integer value and 1250 here is an string value. So this conversion is possible. Similarly, you can try yourself with different types of data types. So, and now let's just try with the Boolean data types. So let's say A1 is true and A2 is false, and now I'm converting it into integer. Okay, let's say int. A Boolean data type is a valid, literal for int. So you can see what it gives. It gives 1 and 0. That means true in integer means 1 and false in integer means 0. And let's try the reverse. By reverse I mean num1 equals to, let's say, 0 or 1, and then num2 equals, let's say, 10. Okay, let me just print the Boolean for that. The function is bool of num1 and similarly of num2. So you can see both gives true. And here I have just changed the value of num2 to 0 and then running this same program, and you can see it gives false. So only 0 as integer will be converted as false in Boolean, and every other integer, if used in type conversion or typecasting, will return